Esselamu Aleyküm ve Rahmetullah. Euzubillahimineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbena heb lena min ledunke rahme ve heyyi lena min emrina raşede. Rabbi cealni mukimes salati ve min zürriyeti. Rabbena ve tekabbel dua. Rabbena atena fid dünya hasene ve fil ahireti hasene ve qina azabennar. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. We have been studying the story of Yusuf, and we studied up to the point that he was the Aziz of Egypt, which is very interesting, the word used for Aziz. Aziz has various meanings with slight different meanings. Sometimes seems to be a real differences, but mostly Aziz has the meaning of almighty, powerful enough to impose his decision, and also he holds the power with an honor, not by force, like these dictators. Dictators are not Aziz. They are just using their power, but the people suffer from them, and they are really disgraced in the eyes of the people. Another meaning of Aziz also, which is not very widely known, meaning which I learned recently, and it was amazing, a person who has honor, but uses his honor in the right way and never gives in for petty benefits or interests, personal interests. This is also called in the literature, Quranic literature, Aziz. So when we use the word Aziz, we have to bear in mind that the creator of the universe is Aziz. He doesn't disdain to do anything vicious, anything wrong, anything not perfect. Everything he does it according to the capacity, infinite capacity of his status, if you like, as the creator, the owner of the universe. When it is used for Aziz, because Yusuf became Aziz of Egypt, so he never disdained to do anything wrong, to misuse, exploit his position, always honest and honorable in his actions. He didn't have any defect in his treatment of other people. So when his brothers came again with his blood brother or full brother, so he disclosed. Now they understood that. He said, do you remember what you have done to your brother Yusuf and what you are doing? Brothers, Yusuf's full brother as well. And they said in the verse 91, let's remember it very quickly. What is it? No, this one. Yeah. So the last verse, we understand that the brothers said, by God, God has certainly raised you above us and we have indeed done wrong. This was very important because now ego, selfish concerns, and arrogant attitudes realize, symbolized by Yusuf's brother, realize that they have done something wrong. That confession is regarded as asking for forgiveness, repentance. Oh, what we have been doing was wrong. So, as a result, we come to the verse 92. That is important to notice the wordings of the verse 92, which says, قال, Yusuf said, لا تثريب عليكم اليوم. That is very interesting because this phrase, Joseph said, there is no blame on you today. Now, this phrase is used by the Prophet Muhammad when he entered Mecca peacefully. So they say the conquered Mecca. It is not a conquer. It is just full submission of the Meccan people to the administration, at least administration of the Prophet Muhammad's Medina-centered administration. And also they accepted, they confessed that they were wrong and the Prophet Muhammad was right. Only a few incidents and skirmishes of few things happened. Some people very, maybe the historians say 6 people or 8 people, depending on the historian's side, resisted against this decision of Meccan people when the Prophet Muhammad entered with his people, with his followers in Mecca, and they also ran away or submitted at the end, or they were fighting against the Muslims and they were killed. Some of them, not all of them. It was just a small event because the whole city submitting themselves to Medina administration and also message of the Prophet, but mainly Medina's administration, saying that we have to work with Medina administration, we should stop enmity and also having revenge or any kind of attack on Medina. They submitted. History is somehow exaggerated in many aspects, but there is no need to exaggerate the case. For example, no one can become a believer in one day. We have to be realistic. History exaggerates and elevates states of Muslims and companions and Muhammad's success, alayhi salatu wassalam, success, by saying that all Meccan people became Muslims and they submitted themselves to the religion of Islam. That is not really humanly possible. This is not in the way that Allah creates human beings and Allah creates a whole nation. Nobody can become a whole city, become a believer without knowing what the message is, because the Meccan people did not know what exactly the Prophet was teaching. Yes, they heard something when the Prophet was in Mecca, but not when he moved to Medina. He didn't know what was going on, but it was enmity between them anyways. Although most of the residents of Mecca were indifferent, impartial towards Medina because they didn't know what they were doing. Only the chieftains, the leaders of the community or Meccan population were obstinately rejecting the message of the prophet and trying to stop him from spreading the message. That was the historical background we learn. So when he took over the administration of Mecca, when he came with his followers to Mecca, and what he said, he entered Mecca by bowing while he was riding the camel. His camel, it's just quite understandable, but camel is the only the horse and camel, but mostly the camel is the means of transportation, so it is normal. It wasn't something that the prophet was proud, but on the camel, he was bowing down, not showing that, look, I am a great man, I am the conqueror of this city. No, 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 no. That is not expected from a prophet to behave in this way. That is interesting. We have to be aware of this kind of small incidents or small characteristics or not very significant characteristics of the prophet, but also somehow occasionally something happened. This one, for example, occasionally happened, only once happened. He entered a city and his administration was accepted and peace, therefore peace is declared. That time the prophet used, La tathriba alaykumul yawm. Why? They say, because these people, Meccan people, were following a custom where if a superpower enters a city, what does he do? Enters not the city, when the territory of a tribe is territory, and the tribe submits what is expected as a tradition that time among the Arab Arab Bedouin life, either kills or enslaves the people, especially the young people, let's say, the people who can take a share in war condition. They were, of course, their possessions, their properties will be confiscated. What happened? People said, okay, yeah, Muhammad, you are a nice person now. We know that. Yeah, confessions start. And they said, what are we going to do now? Are you going to kill us? Are you going to enslave us? What are you going to do? The prophet said, it is amazing, amazing. You can never see any equivalent. Even the Muslim kings, never. La tathriba alaykum al-yawm. There is no blame on you today. The prophet recited this verse. And he said, yes, nothing changed. Your life is safe. Look at this izzah, aziz. Your life is safe. Your property is your property. We are not going to confiscate any of your property. Only one thing we want is make bid'ah. Bay'ah. Bay'ah. It means pledge of allegiance. But that means, yes, I accept your administration and I want to become a citizen. Like some of us here, including myself, we moved here. I know some people among us. We immigrated here. So we are immigrants. When we came here, what did we do? We promised by signing the, our visa conditions, when I come to the States, I will follow the law of the state and I will be a loyal member of the community, maybe citizen. I will be a loyal member of the loyal citizen of this country, but it does never mean my promise not to go against the law, not to cause any anarchy in the society, and accept the authority of the law of the administration, present administration. It doesn't mean that I follow their belief. I follow their value. But I keep my belief, I keep my values, human values, for myself, and I say nothing. I don't interfere into the values of other people. Of course, conversations, conveying, spreading what is true for you to others doesn't mean that you are causing corruption in the society, confusing disorder in the society. Doesn't mean that. Somebody speaks to you, listen to him, and you speak to them, they listen to you. You can spread the message. It means in Quranic terminology, tabligh. You can spread the message, but you don't breach the law. If you breach the law, like any other citizen of the country, you will be treated by judge and punished if it is to be punished. That's normal procedure. So when the people of Mecca submitted to played allegiance to the Prophet, they played allegiance to the Prophet and accepted that I am a citizen of Medina administration now, and Mecca became a part of Medina administration. That's it. But it doesn't mean that everybody embraces them, started praying and fasting. No. It takes time. It needs education. Like the immigrants go through, what happens? I may preserve my culture, my religion, my practice of religion, but of course, I cannot guarantee my next generation. Why? Because next generation will be exposed to this culture with no prejudice. They are newly born. So I came to this country with my prejudice, with my biased ideas, with my biased identity. But my kids, my grandkids, no one can guarantee. They may accept, they may reject. They may agree, they may disagree with the culture, with religious tradition, with ethics, morality of the society. Exactly the same in Muslim or a Medina administration. The people, the tribes around Medina, of course, the tribes were getting really the land of the people who accepted and joined the Medina administration was getting larger and larger and larger. New people joined the administration, and in the course of time, as they became aware of what Islam, what the Quran, what the Prophet were teaching, most of them accepted. Some of them remained indifferent. That's the human case, human reality. There is no need to exaggerate. for example, seeing that the prophets being so generous, so aziz, as he entered the Mecca, so aziz, they definitely will see the virtue, I mean, unimaginable virtue among the Bedouin Arab life, Bedouin life, desert life, uneducated people. Definitely it has great impact on people's feelings. That's what we have to do in our behavior. We have to make tabligh. We have to spread the message through our behavior, generosity and compassion for the people, understanding their background, cultural background, slowly teaching them what truth, according to us, is, so that they will become familiar with it. That's why behavior speaks. Our mode of actions speak much stronger than our wordings. That is one thing we learn here from the prophetic teaching. So the prophets said to Meccan people, there is no blame on you today, as he learned from the Quran, as Yusuf said to his brothers, there is no blame on you today, because they submitted, they confessed their mistake, they repent. So the prophet Yusuf continues, may God forgive you. He is the most merciful of the merciful. So he contributes their forgiveness, their repentance, with prayer that may God forgive you. Now, we know that the behavior of Yusuf represents human consciousness. Human consciousness must appreciate, or appreciates, but we have to look at ourselves, what my consciousness requires me to do. So if someone says, I understand, I was wrong, there is no need to blame them anymore. Saying, oh, didn't I tell you now? Did you learn now? As if still I am angry, as if I am not happy, but I feel superior over my previous opponent. Now he confesses, and as the prophet entered Mecca, bowing on the camel, it means not in an arrogant way, not like a king or sultan, but a humble Muslim. So it reminds me an interesting subject common point between Christian theology and Islamic theology. The Quran teaches, again, فَلَا تَمْشِي مَرَحًا. فَلَا تَمْشِي مَرَحًا.
في الأرض.
في الأرض, yeah, I was hesitant. Thank you very much. فلا تمشي في الأرض مرحا إن الله لا يحب كل مختال فخور. It is very interesting verse actually. Don't walk arrogantly on the earth, because Allah doesn't like those who are following khayal. In Arabic is the كل إن الله لا يحب كل مختال. مختال means it's interesting word actually. Those people who are following or living in a completely imaginary world, khiyal, the imaginary world, not realistic. But sometimes we use this expression in my mother tongue. We say that his mind is above clouds. not realistic. He doesn't see his reality. And also fakhur, those people who are really proud of themselves. But this is what the Quran teaches us. It means you have to be humble. And also one of the famous sayings of Jesus narrated in the Bible is, walk humbly on the earth. You see that the sources of the message are the same, is the same. Walk humbly on the earth. Quran says, do not work arrogantly on the earth. The same meaning. That was a beautiful thing in one of my conversations with my friends. I realized the similarity there. I said, oh, it's a beautiful common point. Yeah, so, تعالوا إلى كلمة سواء بيننا وبينكم. We have to look for agreement. We have to look for agreeing point rather than disagreeing, contradicting points among the people who believe in God. At least they believe in God, but they confuse. Well, all right, we don't agree with that, but rather than concentrating on disagreeing points, we have to give the priority to agreeing point. As we see in this verse 92, Prophet Yusuf never blames them. Never says, oh yeah, you have done all wrong to me now. You see, you came to my feet and you are in need of me now. Did you learn now? No, no accusation. This is what we have to learn. If someone is egoistic tendency realizes that there's something truth here, immediately we have to welcome them. That's what we are learning here. And also encouraging them by saying, may God forgive you. As Yusuf said to his brothers, it means, oh, you are doing wonderful. I know you are a very, your nature is not corrupt. You are a good person. I know that. But sometimes we may fall into doing some mistakes. It is understandable. Don't worry about it. I do sometimes mistakes. Yes, I do. It is not a lie. Yes, I make a lot of mistakes in my life. Oh, in fact, my life is full of faults. Anyway, may Allah forgive me. Now, this arrogance, when arrogance admits his mistake, or that something this is something wrong with arrogance, immediately a little bit we have to welcome it, as Yusuf did. And as soon as somebody admits his mistake, we have to learn that we should follow this admission, even 10% admission. We have to follow 90%, 100% forgiveness, and open our arms and accept them. Yeah. If someone repents, that's the conclusion, we should never blame them. Even the arrogant people, we have to say, as long as they understand that there is something wrong with arrogance a little bit, we have to welcome them. That's what we are learning from verse 92. Now, 93. Any comment? Yes, Inabe, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. I was wondering if you could please give your best advice for when you really, really want to forgive someone and you say, I forgive you and everything, and then every once in a while you still get the feeling of remembering what happened or feeling sad about it, feeling bad about it. what should we do in those instances?
I am not the right person to give advice to anyone, but since we are friends, I know you for how many years? 20 years?
Yeah,
By-
no, 2005.
Was it
So
2005? Oh, yeah.
2005.
18 years, mashallah. So we are friends. Or in fact, you are my daughter. Do you accept that? Yeah?
Yes, I accept here with my other sisters. We're all your daughters, inshallah.
Yeah. I think my daughter is not older than you. Maybe I don't know. I'm not comparing it. So, anyways, so not an advice, but it's a friendly conversation because I don't feel myself in the position to give advice to others, although my profession is an advisor. It's a contradiction in my life, but that was the only way. Legally, they labeled me advisor. In fact, I was a chaplain, imam. Anyways, forget this personal matters. Now come to the point. The question, very good question. Excellent. That is what we have to be practical. While we are reading the verses, we are not reading the verses to learn some information. What the Quran is telling about the life of Yusuf. The Quran is not for this. God doesn't really give information. God teaches what human reality is. That's what we have to concentrate on. This question directly related to human reality, the Nabi's question. So my solution for this kind of overcoming this kind of problems, which is very difficult to overcome our feelings of resentfulness, no, our feelings of, how do you say, being offended by somebody, and it is very difficult to forgive this person. The only solution I thought about it, if I submit myself to my Creator and be aware that, this is important, be aware that whatever is created by God. That is what that is the most important thing that we have to learn. Yes, universe is created by God. It is commonly accepted among people. Whereas social events, human relationships are created also by God, or being created by God. That aspect of our life is somehow not very clear, blurry, foggy. Why? This person is really attacking me. Yes, he is attacking you, if it is the case. Let's assume that really. He is attacking you with no reason or right reason. He has no right to use this language to you. Yeah, let's accept this is an example. But still, we shouldn't forget that this event is created by God. For what? To make me fall into a trap and make a mistake? No. Whatever is created by God definitely is for my education, learning. It is a means of learning my reality, who I am in this world, my reality. This is just a means of education created by God. So if I remember this in my life, look, this event is created by God for me in order to learn something about my reality as a created being, who I am, and who my owner is. That is the most important connection we have to establish, myself and my creator. The rest is all means. The aim is to get to know who my reality is, what my reality is, and who my owner is in this world. So this event is created by God. We have to welcome whatever God creates for me. God created for me. Let's say in a typical example, simple example, there is the prompt test. It's not called prompt test. Suddenly the teacher says, okay, 5 minutes, I give you 2 questions and you will give me the answer in 5 minutes. What are they called? Prompt what? Not the prompt test, is it? No, something else. Anybody help me?
Is it pop quiz?
Pop-up quiz? Yeah, correct?
Yeah,
quiz.
pop quiz, yeah.
Thank you. Yes, the pop quiz. Prompt, I said, made up. That is a sign that I haven't been educated in this culture, really, formally. Okay, pop quiz. So this is a pop quiz from my God. Why? Is it really God is trapping and God is really making a trap for me so that I will fall? No. That is the point in teaching process, that the students need to pay attention to these 2 questions in the pop quiz. That is why the teacher is asking these questions in order to draw the attention of the students so that they will realize what is right, what is wrong, what they learned, what they didn't learn, so that they need to learn if they didn't learn. That is a part of training, that's part of education. So when somebody insults me, for example, yes, as far as this man is concerned, he is doing something wrong. He has done something wrong. As far as my understanding, understanding of the reality is concerned, God is giving me a pop quiz. Why? I have to learn something there. So this event is created by God for me. Who is God? The one who creates the universe, and every single piece of the universe is given existence with perfect wisdom. He is the wisest, not the wisest is not a good word, the most wise creator. So there must be a wisdom in it. Calm down, forget about this man. It is his mistake, I understand, but my purpose of existence is to establish the relationship between me and my creator. So my creator is giving me a pop quiz. What shall I learn from it? This really helps me to calm down and take a wise attitude towards the person who insults me. Even assume that he may be right, he may be wrong, but assume that he is absolutely wrong, 100% wrong. Yeah, my relationship is not essentially with the man, but with God. But as far as living conditions are concerned, I have the right to defend myself against this insult, but bearing in mind that this is a pop quiz for me. It means I have to be careful, watch out that I am not going to be carried away by my emotional ambitions, egocentric defense, but truth-centric defense, justice-centric defense I have to take, because God is not, God never does anything egocentric, but justice-centric, mercy-centric defense. So I have to be an appropriate worshiper of God by imitating his qualities as a created being. As a created being, not a God, but as a created being, I have to benefit from the qualities of the Creator as I become aware of and practice them in my life. So I have to calm down. I never get angry with them, as the prophet was being insulted. And when he was insulted, what he was doing, praying, oh my God, please forgive these people. They don't know. They don't know that they don't realize what I am conveying to them is really true and very good for them. They don't know. They are ignorant people. That is what we learn from the life of the prophet. And also we have to find it easy if someone, for example, if someone harmed you, as the people of Mecca, Qurayshi people, especially the leaders, were really giving the hardest living conditions to the life of the prophet. But once they submitted, they took bay'ah, it means allegiance, pledge of allegiance. He said, La tathriba alaykum al-yawm. Today, no blame to you. There is no blame to you. Look at this. Why? Because he was an abd of Allah, not a person who claims it is authority, it is power, and defend his right in the name of his egoistic satisfaction. But I have to defend my right in the name of the most just God. It means leave the decision to God, but as a person, created being, I have to put my petition to the judge, to the court. This person is insulting me without any right, so I want to defend my honor, as Yusuf did when he was in the prison. What did he do? When the king called him, we remember this. The event is easy to remember, but the wisdom in the event may miss out. We may miss out the wisdom in the event narrated in the Quran. What did he say to the messenger sent by the king to come out of prison and get into palace, which is enormous opportunity for him? He said, no. Why? He wanted to defend himself. With arrogance? No. He said, okay, ask your king. And to ask the women what they wanted from me, so that they put me in prison. What was wrong with me? Let them witness, let them demonstrate whatever the evidence they have. So if they don't have any evidence, I am not going to get out of prison. I'm not going to get out of prison before I am cleared of all offenses presented to me, or the insults. As if putting in prison, what does it mean? You are guilty. What was Yusuf guilty? Not at all. The one who was accusing him was guilty. Just the contrary. That's what he wanted, to keep his honor. We can try to keep his honor, but in an honorable way, not arrogant way. This is the only way to remember that this is a test. This is the pop quiz from God. I have to see what God is teaching me. It means what I need to learn. That's an opportunity. I have to learn it. Then I think it helps me to solve this kind of problems, which is very human. The people are full of emotions, especially everyone, but human beings. And they find hard to forgive. But this kind of teachings in the Quran, we learn forgiveness is so easy. Remember very quickly, what did the brothers of Yusuf do to Yusuf? So horrible things. Because of this mistake they made, he was enslaved, he became a slave, he was put in prison for many years. So he had all right to carry some sort of revenge in his heart. But Yusuf represents reality, the truth, human consciousness, the reality of human spirit in this example. So what did he do? Okay, this is created by God for my training. Let me learn what I need to learn, because God is creating me to teach something that I need to learn. That is a good opportunity. Let me learn. As a result of this calmness, he immediately forgave his brothers. Although the brothers accused him last time again, just we learned in a few previous verses of the Quran. He said, no, if he has stolen something about Yusuf's full brother, his brother also has stolen. There was no such case. It wasn't the case at all in the case of Yusuf. They didn't put him in prison, threw him into the well, because he was accused of stealing something. No, he was innocent young child. But that much hatred, if you like, because of this jealousy, envy, they were carrying, because we said we have to remember Yusuf's brothers represent what? Egocentric, arrogant attitude. Self-concerned. Not accepting or remembering God at all. At all. Not submitting to God. That much worse people said, at least in the previous verse 91, said, oh, we were wrong. That's enough. Just saying we were wrong, that was enough for Yusuf, and said that, no, there is no blame on you today. May God forgive you. Look at this beautiful attitude. That is how we should read the Quran. Alhamdulillah. So, do you have any more questions, concerns, anything? Let me see.
I just wanted to add that, remembering that this life is passing and I'm here for a purpose is also very helpful, because when I am upset with a past situation and can't forgive, and it happens to me all the time, it is helpful when I remember that it's passing and that what this person have done to me, assuming that he really did something wrong, because sometimes it's a perception, but even if he did something wrong to me, and even if he did take away something from me at that period in time, it wasn't like that I was going to hold on to it and it was an eternal loss. It's just things come and go in this life anyway, and I'm here for, as you always say, for training for the eternal life. So it makes it easier, because when I forget that I'm passing and everything else is passing, I can get drowned in that moment. And why did she say this to me? And how dare she said this to me? And how dare, he did not return this, or whatever it is. And I'm not saying that to belittle the experience, because sometimes it's small, sometimes it's bigger trauma. But at the end, we're all passing, and to cling on to things as if we are here forever, and what is taken from us is an eternal loss, is makes it almost impossible to forgive.
Thank you. So in a summary, I will say it is easier to establish a vertical relationship between the creator of the food and me. Said, oh, the food cannot happen by itself. But some people, very rare people, really deny God. But they are mostly on political reasons and caprices, petty matters. Any human being should not disdain to behave in this way. But there are some people, of course, people are free to choose. But majority of the mankind easily say, oh, the universe must be created by God. Look at it's wonderful. It cannot happen by itself. Come on, there is no sign of accident in the world. It is easier. Then seeing God's action in social events. So I would say in our relationship with the created material world, and establishing this relationship on vertical base, it means looking at the world and saying that, oh, this world needs to be created by a one who has given existence to the whole universe. That is easier than seeing God's action, seeing God's work in social events, in human relationships. That is why in human relationships, we need more and more concentration and training in order to see the events on vertical base, vertical relationship, the creator of the event and me. Put it in a simple language. The creator of the universe is the teacher. I am the student. So the relationship between the teacher and the student. And what is going on in practical life, I have to always keep in mind that this vertical relationship should not be neglected and forgotten. Horizontal relationship, what happens? Definitely horizontal relationship will take place on the base of revenge. And it becomes impossible to forgive a person who transgressed your right. It is very difficult to forgive human beings if we don't remember this, or if we don't establish vertical relationship in social interactions. So we have to see, even we have to see vertical relationship in political situations, in economical situations, in, let's say, international relationships. We have to keep in mind that, look, what is happening in the world? Somewhere, some people treating other people in a very disgraceful way. So we have to say, what is God teaching me here? What the wisdom in creating this situation? There is a horrible war. Millions of people are killed in a war. Innocent people. I mean, even the soldiers are killed. They are also innocent. You see in America, who joins the army? those people who are poor, cannot run a business, they need some profession, make some money in order to take care of their family. So if they join army, they can get a profession and a regular income. Majority of them are innocent. Where we don't really take into consideration this reality. There are some of them is really patriot and nationalist, racist, full of hatred. Yes, there are all kinds of people everywhere, but majority of the soldiers are innocent people. They are just looking for some living conditions for them, getting a profession. When they are killed, they say, oh, they are combatant people. Come on, man. They are innocent. They are forced to do that by economical or other reasons. In America, most of the people join army for 1 or 2 years so that they will get some privileges in education, in finding a job, in getting a credit. These are the reality. They want to get the social benefits. How can you say that these people are really cannibal people, want to kill others? Not all of them. So when we say 1 million people were killed innocent, but there were some soldiers, yeah, they were just combatant people. Not all of them. Very few maybe. Or the politicians, I think most of them are vicious people. I have no hope or good intention about politicians. Innocent people cannot join in political activities at all because everywhere is mixed up. It is very confusing, and there are many layers of things behind the veils that we are not aware of. So that is my personal understanding. You may agree, you may not agree, I don't know. But this is, oh man. All right, let's finish the 93, verse 93, which says, now take this shirt of mine and lay it over my father's face. Oh, this is a very great verse. And he will recover his sight. Why? I would say, just putting the shirt on somebody's eye, he will recover his sight, he will start seeing, then come back to me with all of your family. That's understandable within the context. But the first part of the verse is really amazing. First of all, we have to know what happened to Yusuf's father, Jacob, in the language of the Quran, Yaqub. What happened to him? He represented, going back to the beginning of our analysis of this story, he represented human rationality, sound mind, uncorrupt mind. So mind thinks, understands that, look, this child was innocent and he was really mistreated with his brothers. Definitely something will happen and God will protect this child. Having always a hope. Now we see from this verse that whether we may have some justifications explained in the Quran or not, when we use our reasoning, we understand that this universe, everything is meaningful in this universe. Whatever is created in this universe is meaningful. So in these activities, in these events, also there must be some reason. There must be some wisdom. What is that wisdom? Let me have a hope. Let me have hope for the future of my son. He is innocent son. We know that Jacob, Yusuf's father, was never really angry, and also arrogant towards his other guilty brothers, guilty sons. He was indifferent. But not indifferent totally, said, yes, you were doing something wrong, but he never really attacked them. He was always cool. That's why we say, in the behavior of, we said at the beginning of this story of Yusuf, we said Jacob represents human rationality, reasoning. So he had the hope for the justice to happen, that this innocent child will be saved. This feeling, now, this hope, the feeling of hope gave fruit, if you like, was accepted. That is why we have to keep our optimistic attitude in every event. Definitely, as a result of this event, God's grace will be with me. And let me have hope from God's mercy. As the Quran says, only those who deny lose hope from God's mercy. That is, you know that, the verse, very famous verse, everybody narrates, cites this verse. So you know that. So he was under stress or distressed, I think the word. It means, what happened to this innocent child? I hope he wasn't really completely, how do you say, what word I should use for this? He should be saved at the end. Hope, keeping the hope of being optimistic. He should be saved in one way or another, because in the creation I see wisdom. So there must be a wisdom, and wisdom requires that he will be really saved from all mistreatments. So this hope in him always remained. Of course, in the teachings of the Quran says, Jacob always said, okay, I always trust God's decision. So he didn't lose in God's mercy. What happened as a result of positive feelings? God rewarded him with the news that Yusuf is doing very well. I mean, definitely, if I was the father of Yusuf, I would definitely say, Alhamdulillah, Yusuf was thrown into the well. Do you see what I mean? Not because they, Yusuf's brother, Jacob's sons, wanted to do something to Yusuf. No, they were guilty. But God's decision was in the favor of Yusuf. First of all, because Yusuf was very patient, his father was very patient, and they were looking, the father and Yusuf himself were looking always for the positive side of the events and having hope always, never losing their trust, their hope in God. So they were rewarded with the positive results, unexpected results. Who was expecting an immigrant refugee to become the top man of the country? No one. And also, Yusuf was appointed as a prophet because of through these servant of his life, through the, how do you say, life journey, if you like. So he was blessed with prophethood and also the highest position possible for him in the country where he was. This hope is very important. We have to keep this hope in us as well. Always we have to be hopeful. We say in Islamic tradition, inshallah, everything will turn out to be the best. As Yusuf, Yaqub, Jacob was having this feeling, everything is going to be the best. Everything is going to be the best. So laying the shirt on Yusuf's father's face was the news from Yusuf to his father, what his feelings and what he thought of God was really right. As we know that the prophetic saying, God says, I can treat my people or my creatures as human beings. Let's make it simple, human beings. I can treat my human beings as they think of me. That's a great teaching from the Prophet, alayhi salatu wassalam. Yeah, now we can say alayhi salatu wassalam because we see how wise the teaching was. Look at how you think of God, God treats you accordingly. Inshallah, next week we will study related verses to this subject. It is very important why God asks us to pray to him. Why? To keep our hope in his mercy, to trust him, to trust his mercy. Okay, inshallah, we will shortly talk about verse 93 and go into the following verses related to human feelings. And any feeling, let me give a heads up, any feeling is a prayer. If I say, this person never becomes a good man, impossible, I lost my hope in him, it becomes a prayer because the prophet teaches us, how you think of me, I will treat you accordingly. That is an excellent prophetic teaching, mashallah. You see that the prophetic teaching is really God's teaching. So let me see what is written in. Needs total trust in God's mercy. The hope against what the eye sees is the biggest challenge. Yeah. Against what horizontal perspective. Yeah, it is what we have to be careful with. Extreme sabrun jamil, that is Yaqub's. So you are reading this as the degree to which you have hope and trust in God determines the degree of HOD. Do you mean God, or it's a spelling mistake, or
it's a spelling mistake determines the outcome. Yeah. Like it's proportionate. Like this is exactly proportionate. And you just said it now, the hadith. Like أنا عند حسن ظن عبدي بي. We forget that hadith. I find it easy to, when I see things like in that situation, I will be desperate and will feel sad and depressed and will take this as this is the end and they're lost. And I will just, I will stay there, so, but what we're taught is that, no, don't stay there. Like, if you want the outcome to change, you have to change as well. So that's, that's the challenge, inshallah.
Inshallah, next week, we will try to somehow analyze these human feelings in the form of prayer to God. In relation to do with prayer to God. what we pray to God, in fact, goes on our human feelings. The prayer, what I mean by prayer, not salat, but dua. Both of them are translated as prayers. But dua is more supplications. Supplication is something to do with human feelings. Inshallah, we have to spare some time for this very practical guidance from God's teaching. But I think the time is really up, and also everybody has something to do, and the time is very precious. So I have to stop here, inshallah. So next week, Saturday, Monday, next week, Wednesday, inshallah, we will carry on. Although the next week, Wednesday, is Eid day, the third day of Eid Mubarak from now to everyone. But inshallah, I am intending not to miss this class. Inshallah. That's why my intention. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum. Eid and Laylatul Qadr Mubarak.